Now let's dive into the JWT bearer assertion flow. As always, we start with the OAuth 2 rules. In this scenario, the client can be either public or confidential client. This flow utilizes the OAuth 2 token endpoint. A new component to consider in this flow is the external trusted identity provider, which the authorization server relies on. This is why establishing a trust relationship between the identity provider and the authorization server is essential. The identity provider can be an OpenID Connect compliant provider or any identity provider capable of issuing JWTs. The resource owner initiates the flow by logging into the identity provider and providing their credentials, such as a username and password. Once authenticated, the identity provider issues a JWT token, referred to as a JWT bearer assertion in this context, and returns it to the service provider, which acts as the OAuth 2 client. The client receives the JWT bearer assertion and sends a post request to the token endpoint of the authorization server to exchange the assertion for an OAuth 2 access token. Here is how the curl command looks. The client sends a post request to the token endpoint. The content type is set to URL encoded form data. The grant type is set to JWT bearer, indicating the use of the JWT bearer assertion flow. The assertion parameter contains the JWT bearer assertion to be exchanged. Optionally, the request can include a scope parameter for fine-grained access control. If the client is confidential, credentials such as client ID and client secret are included in the request. Next, the OAuth 2 authorization server validates the JWT bearer assertion, mapping any claims within it, such as user attributes or roles. If everything checks out, the authorization server generates an OAuth 2 access token and returns it to the client. This token allows the client to act on behalf of the resource owner who initiated the request with the identity provider. If the request was machine initiated, the access token represents the machine's identity. From this point onward, the process is similar to other OAuth 2 flows. The client uses the access token to perform actions or request resources from the resource server. The resource server in turn validates the access token and if valid, returns the requested resources, completing the process.